What's good, fam? This your boy Z the Real, and I hope everybody's had a happy Thanksgiving and has been staying Corona safe. But in this video, I'm gonna let all Clipper fans know, including the world, know the reason why Montrez has decided to sign with the Los Angeles Lakers. It's the same reason why LeBron wants to win another. It's the same reason why LeBron is trying to win 2 more championships. He wants to form another big three. LeBron is trying to do what he did in Miami, and that's pretty much have max role players on his team. He's doing the exact same thing he did with Pat Riley. He's trying to get max role players from other teams. He's trying to sign all the free agents he can so he can go and try to win him a three-peat. This is what LeBron is trying to do. LeBron is trying to basically get 6 championships before he retires. He is trying to do what Jordan did with the Bulls and turn his team, get one more. He wants at least he wants to go back to multiple championships, just like Jordan did when he retired. LeBron is trying to retire with 3 championships and basically three-peat, just like Jordan, Kobe, and Shaq and them all did. This was basically what LeBron is trying to do. And I'm going to let you know right now, this was planned the entire time. LeBron, Rich Paul, and Montrez was in cahoots this entire season. Even before the bubble, they was already in conversation. Because it's just been revealed now that Montrez has been signed by Clutch Sports this entire time. All right? I'm letting y'all know that now. Because I know a lot of people are surprised, they shocked, but no, this is nothing new. This has happened before in LeBron James championship runs. And then I say in the 8 years in a row that he was in the finals, this has happened before. This wasn't the only time. And I'm going to let y'all know how all this is leading up, why this is all LeBron James' idea. Okay? And this also lets me know this, and I'm going to tell you why I don't respect LeBron James. I'm going to tell you why LeBron James doesn't get respect neither. But before, let me just cover Montrez here before I continue. No, Montrez had this plan the entire time. Montrez has openly admitted that LeBron James was his mentor. So I believe Montrez this whole time wanted to join LeBron James when he became a Laker. Montrez had no intentions of re-signing with the Clippers at all. All right? Because if you notice, when Montrez got to the bubble, between the time before COVID-19 happened and when he got to the bubble, Montrez stats changed significantly. Before the COVID-19, before the bubble restarted the NBA season that had just ended previously, this year, Montrez was averaging 18 points with like 9 rebounds, 6-7 blocks, like 5-6 steals, like that. Like his points average he averaged now, they got him 6 million a year. He was averaging all of that during the bubble, right? Like with 18 points. As soon as he got to the bubble, his stats diminished. That man got less than 10 points. He didn't have as many blocks or steals or rebounds neither. It's like Montrez played lousy when he got to the bubble. And now everybody understands that in the bubble, at the Disneyland Hotel Resort, all the players are pretty much like in one hotel. Okay, so they all conversate amongst another. They all get the chance to congregate with one another despite being on separate teams. Yeah, when they practice, they're separated, but when practices and when the games are not playing, they all in one hotel. So all this time, Montrez was pretty much communicating with LeBron and Rich Paul, telling them all the Clippers' business. Because all that stuff about Kawhi Leonard being in the club, that stuff about Lemon Pepper Lou, who you think was leaking out all that information behind closed doors? Montrez was. Okay. Now, yeah, he got to the bubble late, but again, the reason why the Lakers was knowing about the Clippers going to the locker room is because of him. About them being bristled, Paul George not getting along with the team, it was him. In actuality, Lou Williams and Pat Beverly, they didn't have a problem with Paul George. He's the only one who had a problem with Paul George. Kawhi Leonard, none of the other Clipper players in that locker room had a problem with Paul George except him. Because let's just be honest, the whole Clipper team played bad. They played terrible. Now, Doc allowed all that to go down. That's why I give Doc Rivers most of the blame, like I said before. Doc was there for 7 years, and he still blew it through on the league when he had Lob City. This is the second time he did it under his watch, so Doc deserved to get most of that blame. Yeah, they all part of the blame. Even though I'm not going to put all of it 100% on Kawhi Leonard, Even though Kawhi Leonard is a leader, so he takes equal blame, but still, man, like it's Doc Rivers allowed them to play lousy. But Montrez is just as responsible for playing lousy like Paul George is. But no, the only one who had a problem with Paul George is him. But Montrez had to make it seem like the whole Clippers, their whole chemistry is in shambles. He made it seem like that. Why? Because he was leaking information out to the media behind the Clippers' back. Basically communicating amongst Rich Paul, LeBron James, and the other Laker players. Yeah, Anthony Davis too. That means he was in conversation with AD too. And notice, when Montrez before Montrez signed with the Lakers, all he said was this was going to be interesting. This man did not tell the Clippers organization goodbye. He didn't have a meeting with Steve Ballmer, Lawrence Frank, or Mike Winger at all. He didn't talk to Ty Lue, none of them. This man left very, 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 very quietly and unbeknownst to anybody. Nobody in the Clippers organization was expecting him to sign with the Lakers the way he did. Okay, so I'm getting somewhere now. Now when LeBron was in Miami, something similar happened. Now a lot of you young folks may not remember this. This was a minute ago, but y'all remember Ray Allen, right? The Boston Celtics Ray Allen. Now, do you see a connection? I want you to see what's happening here. Now, for those of you who don't forgot, in the summer of 2012 offseason, when the Miami Heat had just got done defeating the OKC Thunder. Now, this was a young Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Ibaka that lost to LeBron, Wade, and Bosh. That team, that Miami Heat team was already stacked. They already had they had drafted Norris Cole. They had just drafted. He was a good draft pick for them. You already had Mario Chalmers, but they had wind up picking up Shane Battier and Birdman Chris Anderson the offseason before. So they were already a championship team. They needed more. LeBron figured this is not enough for me. I need to weaken more of the competition. Now, the Boston Celtics was the team that the Miami Heat had to go through to get to that finals. The Boston Celtics had took the Miami Heat to 7 games. And Rondo had an injury. Rondo had I think he had dislocated his elbow and still balling. So the Boston Celtics were still dangerous. They were still a threat. Doc Rivers and Celtics were still a threat to LeBron James. Even though LeBron James finally beat the Boston Celtics, of course, again, he needed Wade and Bosh to do it. Okay, even though he had finally beaten them, that wasn't enough for him. Okay, he was getting tired of seeing the Boston Celtics every year. And before this, man, the Boston Celtics had a nice run. They had the Boston Celtics was in the finals 2 years for 2 championships. They was in there 2008 and 2010. Remember, LeBron James got frustrated when he was in Cleveland because he couldn't beat the Boston Celtics. He could not beat the team. Ray Allen, when Ray Allen was paired up with Paul Pierce, Garnett, and Rajon Rondo, he couldn't take that at all. LeBron got so pissed off and so mad that he had to go to the Miami Heat and join Wade and Bosh to beat the Boston Celtics. But check this out, though. So, in the summer of 2012, Ray Allen was a free agent, officially. Now, the Celtics had showed their appreciation for Ray Allen. Garnett and Pierce, they loved Ray Allen. You know, Rondo didn't have a problem with Ray Allen at all. Right? They all wanted him. Doc Rivers had wanted Ray Allen to stay. Danny Ainge had wanted him to stay. Okay? Everybody on that Celtic organization, excuse me, including the fans, all wanted Ray Allen to stay a Celtic and retire a Boston Celtic, since he did help them get to 2 NBA Finals. But this is what Ray Allen did. Ray Allen pretty much left quietly. He announced that he was going to be a free agent, and he was going to just test the market. Now, didn't nobody, unbeknownst to the behest of the Boston Celtics, Ray Allen basically chose to go to the Miami Heat. He basically had a meeting with Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra. and then we hear rumblings. I think this was reported when Stephen A. Smith was still paired up with Skip Bayless that Ray Allen was having a meeting with the Miami Heat. And it was shocking to everybody. It is sure enough, next thing we know, the Woj comes out and announced that Ray Allen is signing a deal with the Miami Heat for less money than what the Boston Celtics was giving them. Because the Celtics, I think Ainge was going to give Ray Allen over $150 million to stay re-signed with the Boston Celtics. Because that's how much they love Ray Allen. But now, as soon as Ray Allen signed with the Miami Heat, you start hearing that Ray Allen didn't get along with the Boston Celtics. You start hearing all this news about Ray Allen having a problem with Boston. You hear that Ray Allen start accusing the Celtics of playing favoritism. They felt that he was too old. They didn't want to put the ball in his hands. All this other stuff. They said they didn't want to pass the ball to him. They start putting Rajon Rondo above him, and that wasn't true. That was all fake. So all that did was piss off Garnett and Pierce. They started coming at him on Twitter, on social media, and be like, "Why'd you leave? You a traitor." They started talking bad about him. Even Rajon Rondo. Rondo didn't hate Ray Allen at all. I'm gonna tell you that now. Rondo had nothing against Ray Allen. Rajon Rondo only one to do what he had to do to win the team. Rajon was just there to help the Celtics win, but he didn't have a problem with Ray Allen. But suddenly, when Ray Allen joined the Miami Heat, he had a problem with Rajon. No, that was all because LeBron James basically recruited Ray Allen and told Ray Allen to sign with us. LeBron James, Rich Paul, right? I think Chris Bosh, whoever he had with him, LeBron was in Ray Allen's ear and told him, "Man, if you sign with us, the Boston Celtics are getting old. We're the future. Their time is up. Sign with us. You'll win you another championship guaranteed." Now, the Celtics could still compete with Miami. I believe if Ray Allen would have stayed, Ainge would have tried to get another piece over there to sign with the Celtics to beat the Miami Heat. That war wasn't over yet. Yet people are wondering why 10 years later, Ray Allen is not invited to the Boston Celtics championship 2008 reunion. And that's because Pierce and Garnett don't want him around no more. They felt that he's a traitor. He was disloyal to the franchise. And Ray Allen didn't even tell none of them that he was leaving either. He didn't apologize. He didn't say sorry, nothing. He didn't tell them that he was going to be leaving. He didn't say goodbye and shake their hand, nothing. He just left. The same way Montrez Harrell is now going out to the media, going to everyone saying, "Oh, I wanted to sign with the Clippers, but the Clippers obviously didn't want me." It's all lies. Now, Stephen A. Smith called Montrez Harrell out and the media and told each one of them to stop lying. He said this, I believe, last week. I commend Stephen A. Smith to saying it. He's saying that either Mia needs to stop lying or Montrez Harrell needs to stop lying about the Los Angeles Clippers not wanting him. Again, this is all part of LeBron James' plan to weaken other teams. He's doing the exact same thing. Now, I understand when you're a free agent, that you want to go where you want to go, but it's just how you leave. Montrez doing the exact same thing this man Ray Allen basically did. Because as soon as Ray Allen left to the Miami Heat, you started hearing all these things about the Boston Celtics, negative things about the Boston Celtics locker room. How Ray Allen didn't get along with Pierce and Garnett. They started fighting, right? Ray Allen felt betrayed. Well, not Ray Allen. Ray Allen felt that he wasn't wanted. They felt that they didn't want him. He's too old. They felt he had too many injuries, so they didn't want him around no more, which wasn't true. Garnett and Pierce wanted Ray Allen to stay. Rajon Rondo wanted Ray Allen to stay. Danny Ainge and Doc Rivers both wanted Ray Allen to stay a Celtic. But of course, Ray Allen doing that forced Danny Ainge to have to pull the plug. You have to just start rebuilding. Because the Celtics soon the team just wasn't sane no more. Doc office wasn't sane. They tried to replace Ray Allen with Jason Terry. That didn't work at all. So Ainge just decided, okay, I gotta trade Garnett and Pierce. And I gotta let go Rajon. Tony Allen was already gone. I think Big Baby was also gone too. I think Tony Allen went to the Memphis Grizzlies, but Big Baby Davis was also gone. So Ainge just pulled the plug after that. When Ray Allen went to the Miami Heat and they beat the Boston Celtics, that was the end of the Celtics championship run. That was the end of it. Ainge had to do a complete rebuild because Ray Allen screwed everything completely up. Now the Clippers are not going to go through the exact same thing. I doubt it because Kawhi and Paul George are much younger. And the Clippers have a much better coaching staff than when Doc was running. So I doubt the Clippers are going to go through the same issues. But no, man, it's a dirty move. Because Montrez Harrell didn't say goodbye. He didn't thank Ballmer or the Clippers organization at all when he left. The same reason why Ray Allen left the Miami, he didn't thank Boston. He didn't say thank you to Ainge. He didn't say thank you to Doc. None of them. He just left with bad blood, bad tension. Same thing. Montrez has bad blood with the Clippers organization. It was terrible. This man didn't say, like I said, he didn't thank Ballmer, who pretty much been more than generous. Ballmer has showed his appreciation of being an owner. He's been more than gracious. You know, Ballmer has been very graceful. He has shown his appreciation for having this Clippers organization. You know, Ballmer has set the Clippers up to try to win a championship. He's done all that he can to try to give the Clippers an opportunity. And you would think that Montrez Harrell would be happy they at least got a chance to play alongside Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Because before Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, the Clippers was still not that team yet. Don't get me wrong, they had a nice young core with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but that wasn't enough. They didn't have enough to compete with no Golden State Warriors. They didn't have enough to compete with the Los Angeles Lakers or against LeBron James. And you get Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, Ballmer hires Mike Winger and Lawrence Frank to be the GM and president. They start making all these roster moves that betters the team. But Montrez wasn't happy about that at all. So that goes to show you. LeBron James had been telling Montrez Harrell exactly what to do and what to say. Okay? This is why I cannot respect LeBron the same way I respect Jordan Kobe. Because Jordan Kobe wasn't doing none of these things. You ain't never hear Kobe Bryant convincing a player to come join him. Right? You didn't never, Kobe Bryant said, I didn't have to do that. I don't have to convince you to come join the Lakers. You should want to come to join the Lakers on your own. But Kobe would never tell nobody to start talking mess about a team behind their back. Jordan didn't need to try to wine and dine somebody. He needed to take somebody out to no Applebee's and convince him to lead their agent, hire with the agent that they're working with, request a trade from their team, right, and not play. And if they ain't gonna tell the player, request a trade, play for me. Don't play for the other team, play for me only. Michael Jordan didn't have to do that. He didn't have to convince no Isaiah Thomas to try to do that. Michael Jordan wasn't wine and dining no Clyde Drexler. Michael Jordan didn't have to do that. Michael Jordan won with what he had. That's why Jordan is the greatest player in the NBA, because Jordan won both of his three-piece with the exact same roster that was given to him. All Michael Jordan needed was a Scottie Pippen who was drafted to the Bulls. Scottie Pippen was not an all-star that came from another team. Again, LeBron James needed to go join Wade because LeBron James could not win Cleveland a championship. It's just him being a main guy. He could not do it with Delonte West and Mo Williams and Aaron Varejao and Zydrunas Ilgauskas. All right? I'm just telling you that now. LeBron is not that type of dude. LeBron James is the type of player who he needs a Montrez Harrell to leave his other team to come join him. He needs Anthony Davis to request trade and not play for his previous team. He needs that. He needs to go out and trade for a Dennis Schroeder. He needs to go out and take a Marc Gasol. And you know what's crazy? I find it funny that the Sacramento Kings and the Milwaukee Bucks couldn't trade like they wanted to. They couldn't exchange Bogdanovich for DiVincenzo like they wanted to, right? That trade got stopped. They basically decided to investigate that trade. The Bucks got the ultimate screw job. The Bucks couldn't get a Bogdanovich the way they wanted to because Bogdanovich was still under contract before he was officially a free agent. So that couldn't happen at all, right? They had to stop Bogdanovich from going to joining Drew Holiday on the Milwaukee Bucks. But yet they would rather have Bogdanovich sign with the Atlanta Hawks. Yet the Golden State Warriors tried to get Marc Gasol, and Joe Lacob tried to go all night trying to sign that dude. Yet Marc Gasol chooses the Lakers instead. I find it very odd. You re-signed KCP for $40 million, but you couldn't re-sign Rajon Rondo, JaVale McGee, and Dwight Howard. That's why Dwight Howard didn't want to chose the Sixers over the Lakers, because he felt betrayed. Dwight Howard felt, okay, y'all don't want me around no more, despite I helped you win a championship. Dwight Howard worked hard to be on this team, but that wasn't enough. They feel Dwight Howard is not good enough. You won your championship, now we're going to just toss you aside. We're going to go with somebody else. No, I can't respect LeBron James. Why you need all this help? Why you can't try to re-sign the guys you wanted? That's why Rajon Rondo and Dwight Howard decided to leave the Lakers the way they did. Because they feel we should give us we want to have another shot to win another championship. We want to stay on this team. Dwight and Rajon Rondo wanted to stay a Laker. But the Lakers wasn't willing to give them the playing time or the money. That's why Rondo didn't sign with the Clippers, because Rajon Rondo wanted his money. Rondo decided to take the Hawks because Hawks was giving him $15 million. But even then, man, Rondo wanted to stay a Laker, and Lakers didn't want to give him the money. But yet they're gonna give KCP $40 million. It's no loyalty there. Like, keep the same team you got. But that's not good enough. The Lakers got to go after all the big free agents. So everything Carcino for Life is saying about LeBron James is true. To win a championship, LeBron James is willing to play dirty basketball. And that's just what's going on now. LeBron James convinced Montrez Harrell to leave the Clippers like he convinced Ray Allen to leave the Boston Celtics. And Ray Allen went to the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat won another championship. They won 2 in a row. So LeBron James feels, since I convinced Montrez to join me in the Lakers, I can win another championship road. That would weaken the Clippers. Since he feels the Clippers lost to Denver and they're already weak now, he figures this would make Kawhi Leonard and Paul George's team that much more weaker. So when I have to run against Kawhi Leonard, I could beat them and have an advantage. But the joke's on LeBron James. The Clippers just got Serge Ibaka. Now, the Lakers won a Serge. I'm going to tell you that right now. The Lakers was trying to go after Serge Ibaka before they went after Montrez. As soon as they found out that Serge Ibaka ain't going to join LeBron, he would rather play with Kawhi Leonard, that's when they decided to convince Montrez to lead the go. That's when they decided to let's sign Montrez. But Montrez was gonna go to the Lakers anyway. They wanted to get they wanted to get Serge Ibaka and Montrez. So that was the report. The report was the media make it sound like, Serge Ibaka. The media made it want to make it sound like, the Clippers just didn't want to sign Montrez. They didn't think Montrez was Montrez didn't average enough points. They didn't want to re-sign Montrez. That wasn't true. The Clippers would go actually re-sign Montrez. Montrez didn't want to re-sign with the Clippers. But the Lakers wanted to get Ibaka and Montrez over there. Ibaka decided to join Kawhi Leonard. He was going to join LeBron James. Because Ibaka don't want to play with LeBron. Ibaka would rather play with Kawhi Leonard because he has a better friendship with Kawhi. He's closer with Kawhi Leonard anyway. But no, Lakers were going to try to get Ibaka and Montrez. Now, Lakers would have get Ibaka and Montrez here. That sure enough would have gave him another championship. But since the Clippers was able to get Serge Ibaka, the Clippers now have an advantage. The Clippers have a chance to actually still beat this Laker team. Because Ibaka is only 31 years old, but Ibaka is already the better player than Montrez by far. And I'm going to do a separate video explaining why the Lakers roster is not really that much better than the Clippers with the moves they made. And why I think the Lakers roster is a little bit weaker than what they had last year. Because if LeBron James learned anything from Kobe Bryant on Kobe Bryant's championship teams, and even Jordan and Kobe was able to win multiple championships because they kept the exact same team they had. For example, when Jordan returned to the Bulls in '95, and he was able to have Dennis Rodman on that team, him, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman with Kukoc, Lonely, and Kerr, that team was able to win 3 championships in a row because they kept the team exactly the same way. Jordan didn't make no changes. The same thing when Jordan had his first three-peat when they beat the Blazers, Suns, and the Showtime Lakers. They kept Horace Grant, Jordan, and Pippen together with B.J. Armstrong and Elijah Wan. Not Elijah Wan, but Charles Oakley. Yeah, Charles Oakley. Charles Oakley was a big man. Jordan was able to win multiple championships because Phil Jackson kept the core the same. Same thing with Kobe Bryant and Shaq. When Kobe Bryant won his first three-peat, it was him, Shaq, Rick Fox, and Robert Horry. Jerry Buss was able to keep the team the exact same. He didn't make no changes, no notable changes. He kept the core exactly the way it was. He kept the same exact players. Same way with Kobe Bryant won his last 2 championships in 2009 and 2010. Despite the Lakers losing to the Celtics in 2008, he still kept Trevor Ariza. He kept Vujovic. He kept Jordan Farmar. They kept Paul Gasol and Lamar Odom. They didn't make no trades. That exact same team came back and beat the hell out of the Orlando Magic with Dwight Howard then. They beat Rashard Lewis, Hideo Turkoglu, and Jameer Nelson with Michael Piedras and I believe a young Courtney Lee in his rookie year. They beat that Magic team. Why? Because they kept the team exactly the same. All Kobe did was say they're gonna be just like me. I'm gonna give them the same attitude as me. They're gonna play just as hard as me. We're not gonna give up no more. We're not gonna lose no more. Then the following season, all they did was exchange Trevor Ariza for Ron Artest. But again, the core remained exactly the same, and they just added Jordan. They added Shannon Brown from the Charlotte Bobcats. But they kept their core exactly the same, and then they was able to finally beat the Boston Celtics. But again, it was Lamar Odom, Andrew Bynum, Kobe Bryant, Vucevic, Farmar. Okay, that was the core 5. They kept those same guys around. They did not trade Andrew Bynum. They kept him around. They gave Bynum a chance to redeem himself after an injury, and that resulted in 2 more championships. So I feel the Lakers would have been better off keeping JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard, and Rajon Rondo. But that's not the case. LeBron needs more guys. I gotta have more. I gotta be greedy. I'm not satisfied with my same exact team. I gotta get players from other teams. So basically, stop Marc Gasol from re-signing with the Toronto Raptors. Let's basically trade Schroeder. Let's exchange Danny Green for Schroeder, which I don't agree with, man. Danny Green, and that's another thing. Danny Green, another one who you should have kept. Because remember, when Danny Green was a starter for the San Antonio Spurs, they did go to 2 back-to-back NBA Finals. He did win him an NBA championship, and that man broke Ray Allen's all-time championship 3-point shooting record. That man basically matched Ray Allen for most 3-point shots in the NBA Finals. That team was able to win a championship. Then Danny Green gets traded with Kawhi Leonard. He helps the Raptors win their very first NBA championship. So Danny Green has won 2 championships in a row. Keep Danny Green. Don't trade him. You paid him all that money. Why not keep him? That's another thing, man. Why would you give Danny Green $30 million in the first place? Pelinka didn't make... Well, Pelinka, that was stupid. But still, if you go pay Danny Green all that money, okay, yeah, he missed that one jumper, but he's human. He's a human being. People miss shots. Even Jordan and Kobe would miss jumpers. Nobody's perfect. But keep Danny Green. He was part of your core. That successfully won you that championship. Danny Green if you would have kept Danny Green, he would have a chance to win a 4th NBA championship along with JaVale McGee. Because Danny Green has 3, JaVale McGee both got 3. Keep those 2. Keep Dwight Howard, who's the other big man, right? Because to me, like Marc Gasol is not that much better than Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard's a 2-time defensive MVP. Marc Gasol is not better than Dwight Howard. The only thing Marc Gasol has over Dwight Howard is a 3-pointer, but that's it. Marc Gasol is 36 years old. He's reaching 37. He's not the same player no more. No, even Dennis Schroeder. Rajon Rondo is still the far better guard than Dennis Schroeder. Again, Rajon Rondo is a 2-time NBA champion. Rajon Rondo averages way more points. In Rajon Rondo's bad day, he still puts up just as much points as Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder is okay. He's decent. He's not Rajon Rondo level. He's not a playoff Rondo at all. And even Danny Green still puts up way more points than Dennis Schroeder has averaged. Because Dennis, again, I'm gonna make a separate video on that roster, but no, I'm just letting y'all know now, man. LeBron James is willing to do anything he can to try to take players from other teams and weaken them. That's all LeBron James is trying to do. He's trying to weaken the Western Conference, knowing that Golden State Klay Thompson can't come back no more. He knows this already. LeBron is trying to take full advantage so he can get him 2 more NBA champions, right? So he can get 2 more championships. That man is trying to 3-peat badly. He's willing to do all that he can. So he's willing to play dirty basketball. But we'll see how Montrez Harrell does with this Laker team. But all I know is that this is another big 3. So LeBron believes with him, AD, with this guy here, they could try to win 2 more NBA championships like he did with Miami. So he's trying to do the exact same thing when he had Pat Riley. He's trying to win a back-to-back. So LeBron can finally get him 6 NBA championships and say he can finally equal with LeBron James and say he's better than LeBron. That's all this really is going down to. But remember, you sometimes being greedy ain't always the answer. So no, that's why I don't respect LeBron James the same way I respect Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Magic Johnson. And speaking of Abdul-Jabbar won a championship with the Milwaukee Bucks. Well, all he had was Oscar Robertson. Bill Russell won a championship with the Celtics, being the first black African-American player with what he had. You know, those guys didn't have all these teams tailor-made for them. They didn't have the luxury of telling their owner who to go after, who side this guy. They didn't have the luxury of playing for their own agency and convincing Montrez Harrell to talk mess about the team you're currently on. Leave them for them. Leave your team for us. No, they didn't have that luxury. Again, LeBron James is the most spoiled player in NBA history, officially. And if LeBron James lose this next season, no, I don't want to hear no more excuses. I don't want to hear the excuses. I don't want to hear that there's injuries involved. I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to hear the injuries excuse. I don't want to hear that he's old. I don't want to hear none of those things at all. LeBron James is done exactly what he did in Miami. He's getting, and in Cleveland. Look how many players was traded in Cleveland. I don't even got to bring up 2018 or 2017 either. I'm not going to bring that up. I'm not going to bring up when Kyrie Irving got traded and who they traded Kyrie Irving for. I'm not going to bring up none of those players LeBron James had when he was in Cleveland. Again, the exact same thing is going on now. 3 years in a row, LeBron James have done this. Where max players have come to play for him. Players have been traded, and he's gotten max players he wanted to come play for him. I don't want to hear this no more, man. If LeBron James don't get 5, if he don't repeat on this team, he's not the greatest player. Y'all need to stop calling him the GOAT. LeBron James, if he can't repeat with this team he has now, he's not better than Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan. Y'all need to stop it. Stop trying to compare him to Michael Jordan. Stop saying he's better than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Stop saying he's better than Magic Johnson. He's not better than none of those guys. And even the Showtime Lakers. The Showtime Lakers didn't make trades like that. Most of those guys were drafted over there. Michael Cooper. Right, Magic Johnson, those are all draft picks. You know, Kurt Rambis, all those guys were mostly drafted over there. That Jerry West developed. They wasn't getting all those free agents to come join the Showtime Lakers. The only free agent that Jerry West picked up was Abdul-Jabbar, but that was it. No, James Worthy was a draft pick. No, that Showtime Laker team, that was a core team built by Jerry West. He built around Magic Johnson. You hear Magic Johnson trying to convince somebody to come play for him? When he beat the Pistons twice, he wasn't convincing. Magic Johnson didn't call Isaiah Thomas up and have Isaiah Thomas leave Detroit to come join the Pistons, to come join the Lakers. He didn't try to recruit Isaiah Thomas, Zeke, to lead the bad boy Pistons and come join his Lakers. Magic Johnson didn't need to do that. So again, you cannot say LeBron James is better than Magic in that regard. Anyways, folks, that's the video, man. Y'all like, subscribe, comment, man. Y'all stay blessed, stay tuned. I'll see you soon.